Deliberate, solitary practice and learning is unavoidable if you want to develop a new competency. But social learning is also an important practice. I'd like to suggest that you try a special social learning method that you can use to accelerate your learning, giving back to your community by sharing what you've learned. Tutoring, mentoring, and teaching certainly have their altruistic side, but they're also very effective learning practices. As you retransmit what you've learned to someone else, you're forced to synthesize the information you've gained, to organize it, and to find the right words to express it clearly. It also requires designing a learning process that's both effective and engaging, or even entertaining. All of this will structure your understanding and advance your own level of competence. More importantly, the act of transmitting what you've learned takes you from being a simple consumer of knowledge to a creator and distributor of knowledge. Exchanging with peers or teaching other members of your community will also boost your confidence. Note here that you don't need to have someone in front of you to be able to transmit your knowledge. In fact, an excellent way to give back to your community is to create content. For example, you can take your notes, reformat them, polish them, and transform them into, say, a blog or a video or even a course like this one. And the questions and comments that come back to you will enrich your learning further. If you've got any doubts about your legitimacy as a creator of content in your new field, remember that you don't need to wait for the title of professor or for a publishing contract before you start sharing. It's sufficient to have a healthy learning stance and to remain self-aware so that people can see that you're not pretending to be an expert in your subject. I'd actually suggest that you experiment with sharing your learning from the very beginning of your learning process. Whenever you think you've learned something valuable, teach it to friends or family as part of your training sessions. In this way, you'll gain confidence in teaching, and by the time you're advanced in your learning, you should be much more comfortable and effective in teaching strangers. Then you can search, for example, for a community center where you can offer classes, tutoring, or mentoring. And don't forget the 10th learning principle, we're all learners. Finally, it's good to keep in mind that explaining something to someone else is an excellent way to evaluate yourself. In fact, self-evaluation is the topic of our next and last chapter,